Josef Mengele, the Angel of Death. The day was March 16, 1911. A man was born into this new, innovative world. Little did anyone know, however, that man would grow to become one of the most infamous eugenicists in all of history, performing horrific experiments on Jewish people, LGBTQ+ people, twins, and more. But who is Josef Mengele? What were his ambitions in doing his experiments? Why did he choose twins of all things to investigate? Who exactly was the Angel of Death? Let's find out and get to understand this man on today's episode of Wow! Now that's a scary man. Today I have with me my friends, Ash and Amelia. Yo. So, thoughts so far on this Josef Mengele?
Okay. Good job, girl. Get a grip.
Indeed. Yeah. Any other great intuitive comments that you can add to this great thing I cannot see?
What do you think, Ash? How scary?
I'd say he's a 6.9 out of 10.
6.9 out of 10. No reason?
No reason at all.
Well then, let's go ahead and see just how scary Josef Mengele is. He's so scary, he traumatized this owl mug. What am I saying?
That's not an owl! It is an owl, damn it!
It's an owl!
Okay, bloopers.
Okay. Josef Mengele was born on March 16, 1911. Mengele was born into a family of innovative minds, his father being the founder of a company that produced farm machinery. Influenced by all of these intuitive minds, Joseph grew up curious and ambitious. And there's nothing more dangerous than a person who will do anything to get answers. Joseph studied philosophy in Munich during the 1920s, being exposed to the racial ideology of one Alfred Rosenberg, a member and temporary leader of the Nazi Party, when Hitler was imprisoned. Because he was influenced by Rosenberg's racial ideology, he believed in biological racism, or the idea that some races are just biologically superior than others, making him form more ideas for his future experiments. Because of him believing too firmly in these ideas and ideologies, Mengele ended up forming experiments under the influence of those ideas, and thinking that other groups of people were nothing but animals, and that he could experiment on them all he wanted, with no consequences. As we will see later, this leads Mengele down a slippery slope, causing the deaths of many, many innocent people. After studying philosophy, Mengele turned to gaining a medical degree at the University of Frankfurt am Main before enlisting in Sturmabteilung, a wing of the Nazi Party, in 1933. Once added to this Nazi Party, he joined the research staff of the newly created Institute for Hereditary Biology and Racial Hygiene in 1934. During World War II, Mengele became a medical officer with Waffen-SS, an armed group of the Nazi Party, and served in France and Russia. In 1943, appointed by Heinrich Himmler, he became chief doctor at Birkenau, a place filled with dead bodies, as it was an extermination camp at Auschwitz, and thus began his reign as the infamous Angel of Death. His test subjects consisted of Jewish people that Mengele selected personally. He personally chose children as a major test subject. He would choose pretty Jewish women also, and he would supervise those experiments done on the Jewish person. And these experiments consisted of figuring out how to increase fertility in order to raise the German population and, quote-unquote, race. His main interest, however, lay within the curious phenomenon of twins. So after hearing that intuitive information and description of Josef Mengele and his past, what do you guys think of him?
What do you think, Ash?
I think it's pretty bleeped up that he would just try to kill people. I mean, like, through his field, it's kind of rude. It makes sense because he's a psychology major, and, like, psychology is kind of messed up.
Are you calling psychology
I'm
major?
a psychology major.
I plead the fifth.
But isn't it so interesting how he was so educated
It is very interesting, yeah, that he was so educated.
Can't be pleading the fifth. You're not even under criminal law.
I need my lawyer.
I am a lawyer.
Oh.
Okay, anyways, any other great thoughts on Josef Mengele? Any other input or any questions that you have for me?
Charlie, why did he choose twins specifically to do so many of his experiments on?
That's what we're gonna get to next. All right, go!
Before we return to why Mengele and other Nazi scientists practiced their experiments on twins, let's go more in depth on Mengele's experiments. Mengele, as mentioned before, always chose who to experiment on, and chose people to die in the poison gas chambers. People who were witness to seeing their family taken away always said that their family never came back. And because people never seemed to return from Mengele's inhumane experiments, quote-unquote, Mengele was given the name the Angel of Death. Mengele was a manipulative man, sometimes even charming to his test subjects. The children he experimented on who survived has stated that Mengele used to give them chocolate or some sort of treat before he forced them to be human test subjects. One woman even stated that she witnessed her sibling experience being given chocolate by Mengele and then having pins and needles stuck into his head, and she later stated that that same sibling died in her arms. Mengele, despite his infamous nature, was not the only one doing experiments on people. There were 50 total scientists testing out on their subjects. However, Mengele somehow became the most notorious. All of the experiments done on people and done by Mengele and the other scientists consisted of the following: testing methods of mass sterilization, causing wounds onto their prisoners and purposely infecting them with diseases to test cures and to see what the disease does to a person, doing unnecessary surgery on people to test new quote-unquote methods for surgery, and purposely murdering and then dissecting the prisoners for anthropological studies. Now that there is background knowledge on Mengele and his experiments, now the question must be asked: why twins? Nazis, most particularly Nazi scientists, all had an interest in twins, including Josef Mengele. The reason for all of that is just that the twins provided something that no normal two people have: a built-in control variable, meaning that one twin would be selected for experiments and the other twin would not. Anytime twins were born, they would be taken away and experimented on, regardless of any other factors. If they were twins, they were going to be taken away and experimented on. The quote-unquote control twin would be examined in comparison to the other, while the other twin would undergo things like forced blood transfusions, disease injections, amputations, and sometimes even just straight-up murder. The surviving twin, should the other twin die, would also be killed since they had no more use, or the other twin would be put and placed into being another test subject. Mengele had no mercy, and certainly no heartstrings to pull on. He was a man driven by curiosity, exposed to all the wrong ideas.
So after hearing about Josef Mengele and how he experimented on twins and how he manipulated children, what do you think? What's going on in your head?
I think that it's so scary the way that he can manipulate these children into thinking positively about him even under these horrific conditions.
Yeah, I agree. I think that just any type of brainwashing is able to really make someone think of something in a positive light.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he used his psychology major to manipulate the kids.
Yeah.
And then he was a medical doctor as well, so that would also make sense in terms of knowing how children would tick.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Pretty evil.
Pretty evil.
Any other thoughts?
Not really.
You sure?
Did any of these experiments stand out to you particularly, Ash?
I would say the experiment where he killed and dissected one of the twins was kind of creepy.
Yeah, especially since he was doing it for anthropology purposes, and he was an anthropology major. It's really, wow, that's a scary man, how he twisted the education that he got into something so. He's evil.
And not to mention also the fact that he, because of this, his motivation was the racial ideology of eugenics and believing that some races are inferior to others. So he viewed one race as inferior and treated them exactly like animals, and even worse so. And he stated it was all for anthropology. Any thoughts on that?
He went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yes, he did.
He did indeed.
Yes, Puffin! Yay!
After World War II, Mengele ended up not facing any charges for his crimes. In January 1945, Mengele managed to flee Auschwitz, but got caught. Despite this, however, he was released due to the U.S. Army not realizing that Mengele's name was already on the list of wanted war criminals. Mengele then went into hiding under a false name. He made contact with his family, and they assisted in his immigration to Argentina in July 1948. In 1956, Mengele was well established in Argentina under the false name of Jose Mengele, but eventually had to flee away and hid with his family, continuing to hide under a false name. On February 7, 1979, Josef Mengele suffered a stroke and drowned while swimming on vacation in Brazil. He was buried under the false name of Wolfgang Gerhard. After a life of tormenting others, torturing and killing Jewish people and children, Josef Mengele eluded the law for 34 years and never ended up facing any justice.
So, after hearing that conclusion and the fact that Josef Mengele was never really taken to justice and that he died in 1979, awfully close to my parents' birthday, I may add, what do you think?
That was really scary, huh?
It was really scary. I think I'm now, officially, now that we're done talking about him, I think I'm going to change my 6.9 rating to a 69 out of 10. Because I think that it's finally hit that peak scary, like, oh my god.
Off the charts scary?
Mm-hmm.
So after knowing that Josef Mengele experimented on people, viewed people as inferior to him, and also managed to escape because of U.S. war veteran incompetence in a way, and he was buried under the name of, like, Wolfgang something. I honestly forgot. Like, any final closing thoughts on this scary, scary man?
I find it funny that he died from a heart attack.
He died
No,
from
it was
a
a
stroke.
stroke while swimming.
Yeah, so he had a stroke while swimming and then he drowned. You know, pretty, like, upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
For him, not for us. Hey,
He's gone.
He's gone.
No more twins will be harmed.
Long live the queen!
The queen is dead, Tyler.
No!
The queen is dead.